The compromise was reached to lift the moratorium on the extensions because of the growing unemployment problem in the construction industry and the fact that the building is an educational institution. One of the conditions imposed by the Trades Hall Council is the provision of parking areas for the residents, and that's been agreed to by the Catholic Education Office. The Secretary of the Trades Hall Council, Mr. Pete Barrick, says it will not tolerate any further expansion by the college into residential areas unless an agreement satisfactory to both residents and the Catholic Education Office has been signed.
The Catholic Education Office have known full well of the Council's position, but have chosen to ignore that situation, continue to purchase properties in the area with the long-term objective of expansion.
Mr. Barrick says the moratorium is to be lifted on stage 1 and 2, which is the area in the red. The Newcastle Trades Hall Council also made a scathing attack against the Newcastle City Council, saying it's incapable of planning, sustaining and implementing long-term strategies. It also says that the Council's stated intent on such important matters appears to be the subject of continual and extensive appeasement in the face of sectional and powerful interests.
The villains in the piece of the Newcastle City Council, and we have a number of applications from varying residents groups for green bans to be opposed based on the Council's departure from committed strategies, that is to urban consolidation and restoration of inner city dwellings.
Could we just have a clearance here on the marina, please, girls, so we can call the teams forward? Forward, SNL, please. Back, Linda, back.
This year, the annual event took on a slightly different flavour, as the Lake Macquarie Fire Control Officer Stephen Stout explained.
Well, this year, the events have been designed and organised by the Committee of the Volunteers, and we've come up with a combination event which comprises of all the skills they would require on the fire ground. It tests their ability and teamwork. It comprises raking trails, using chainsaws, drafting water and a number of other events.
The field day attracted 10 brigades, 7 of which came from the Lake Macquarie area, while the rest came from the Central Coast. The 5-man teams were expected to compete in 3 events. The first, a tanker inspection, was thorough, with cleanliness and maintenance of the vehicle, as well as its operational readiness, being high on the point-scoring list. Events 2 and 3 allowed the teams to display their prowess in the field, with tasks such as negotiating a narrow course through the tank line, using a chainsaw to fell a tree, and clearing a fire trail. And to add to the difficulties, it all had to be done against the clock. Organisers hope that this type of event will not only improve the efficiency and capability of the volunteer bushfire brigades, but that it will also increase public awareness about the constant threat of fire.
When 2 drinkers leaving the bar looked up and saw flames. The other drinkers left shortly after. The fire apparently started in one of the guest rooms on the first floor. A hotel guest was in the room and suffered slight burns to the hand as he fled the room. Fireman from Cessnock accused the Melbourne did well to save her and staged back to 1916. They arrived, the fire had spread to the timber ceiling and the two adjoining bedrooms. Their efforts, however, confined the damage, although the first floor was badly affected by smoke and heat. The bar luckily escaped. This afternoon, the hotel was back in business.
Gotta give in! Oh yeah!
There are 90 aircraft on this busy airstrip, all types of fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters taking off, refueling and landing. No, it's not Mascot, but Gunnedah airstrip during AgQuip. This year, the organisers managed to attract 450 exhibitors compared with 380 last year. The size of the exhibition site had to be increased to meet demand. Exhibitors included the West Australian government, Canada and Italy. The Italians brought with them a full range of farming tractors.
We had in our pavilion tractors and irrigation pumps and irrigation implements and also small tractors for small company and also rice harvesters.
You've flown from Rome, I understand, just to visit AgQuip.
Yes, just to visit AgQuip. And I am very happy to be here because everything is to discover and I like the region and all the farmers here. It's very beautiful.
Many new and innovative products were on show for the first time this year. For example, satellite dishes like this. For $4,500, you can install one in your backyard and pick up certain ABC broadcasts and the cable news network from America. Doug Sortel and his company are trying to introduce the dishes for people living in remote areas who normally get poor television reception.
Until you really go out of these areas, you don't appreciate the standard of the people live under out there. A lot of them don't, there's no television signal at all. A lot of them don't even have any telephone facilities.
Another new product was a spray unit which fits to the back of a motorcycle. These were selling pretty fast at AgQuip this year. Barry Harley, the chief organiser of AgQuip, says new exhibitors were most impressed.
Today is probably by far the largest crowd we've had on a Thursday ever.
Well, how about the large number of new exhibitors? How do they feel about AgQuip?
Well, I think they're very impressed with it. Most of whom we've spoken to have said they're delighted with the results.
It's gone extra well. Very good representation here, and we've had a good response.
You've come a long way.
Yes, but it's proved without any shadow of a doubt to be a premier field day, especially for us.
Influenced many experts are predicting a mouse plague in northern New South Wales, and there were many devices on show designed to counter the problem, from prefabricated mouse fences to electronic bleepers. But creating a lot of interest, especially among the young farmhands, was Newcastle girl and welder Julie Glockland.
Oh, it is a fairly unusual thing, but people like to see that and I like to do it.
Is that brazing that you've done there going to stick?
Yes, of course it is.
Also at this year's AgQuip were more ultralight aircraft than ever before. You don't need a license to fly an ultralight, just some detailed instruction and lots of guts. The first flight is always hair-raising, but they're being used more and more on Australian farms for spraying, property surveys, or just getting away from it all.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or more. The was rolled out the store. Amen, died, trying to end that spree of the red bear of Germany.
The Cobar and Wilcannia is the result of 21 volunteers from the Adamstown Uniting Church spending a week at Cobar and Ivanhoe helping renovate some church properties there. Rather than send the bus back empty, it brought Far West children to the coast. And the fun they were having at Port Stratsley today made it clear the project has certainly been worthwhile. The children are all staying with local families, which gave them the chance to make some new friends as well. Their busy week, which has included a harbour tour and visits to local industries, comes to an end on Saturday, when the bus goes back to Cobar to pick up the 21 volunteers who it's hoped will have painted 2 churches, fixed 2 entrance doors and built a new fence.
Our regional crime squad will be modelled on those already established in Penrith and Miranda. The concept is to decentralise detectives experienced in specialised areas of police work. The drug squad, for instance, will come under the umbrella of the crime squad. It'll be doubled in number and be able to use more resources. Units to combat arson, armed robbery and murder will also be included. Fully trained and experienced detectives will join the squad from around the state, 25 at first, with plans to bring the squad to a full strength of 50 by December. The gap left by these detectives moving from other areas to Newcastle will be filled by promoting younger men already in the force. In other words, extra men are not being employed, just more efficiently distributed. Response time to any crime is very important, and police are confident that a mobile, decentralised squad can be more effective. The regional crime squad will cover an area north of Wyong to the Queensland border. The man in charge will be Detective Chief Inspector Ross Morrison, who has 15 years' experience in the consorting squad and 4 years in the armed hold-up squad.
Naturally, the biggest crime in Australia today, or the sponsor of crime, is drugs and the drug scene. We'd be looking to try and concentrate on sellers, major importers and the like, and then of course my specialist squads are armed hold-up, homicide and breakers, and of course there is a segment called the arson squad, which is another huge criminal area today.
But all is not 100% rosy. Chief Superintendent Titley expressed concern at today's news conference at the huge amount of paperwork the new squad will generate without any provisions for extra backup staff. This problem applies equally to the fingerprinting and radio control sections in the Newcastle district. Another problem is finding a place to park the extra police cars. One solution would be to base the highway patrol at Charlestown, an idea now being given some serious consideration.
Creativity. Co-op members turn spare glass into ornaments which are sold in the company's gift shop. Common Ownership Development Agency recruited one extra director for the company, former ACI employee who now manages the concern.
How is it that a cooperative like this can succeed where a big international company apparently failed?
That's a very difficult question, Jim, but I think there are several answers. The first is the application of the employees is unquestioned. I mean, each one of them has $5,000 invested in this, not to mention their working life. So that's a very big incentive to make it work. The second thing is that the size of the organisation is considerably more manageable than, say, Phillips was. It's small enough for me to know everything that's going on, every stock line, every customer. So there's a lot less chance of goof-ups than there was at Phillips. And I also believe that we're doing the right thing in specialising in the manufacture of glass only. We're not lightingware people or giftware people, we're glass manufacturers. And we'll sell our glass to those customers that we can convince to buy it.
And you can find customers all right?
Oh, we're finding plenty of customers, yes. There's no shortage of customers.
Haven't got him anything yet. That's a loser, right?
There are 260 young dancers in the Eisteddfod, entered in categories for ballet, tap dancing, clog dancing and musical comedy. In all, there will be more than 1,300 individual performances at Newcastle High over the next 7 days and nights. It's been organised for the 17th year by the Lions Club of Adamstown, mainly as a holiday activity for youth. Door takings will go to charity. The daunting challenge of judging all this talent has been accepted by Faye French, a respected teacher and former dancer from Sydney. By next Saturday night, she will have picked the winners, who may go on to much bigger things. Big things can also be expected of the winner of the 3rd annual Matara Concerto competition being held at the City Hall. That's because the standard is extremely high and has attracted musicians from throughout the nation. Deborah Landers, seen here, has come from Sydney to play her viola. The first heat of the competition was held yesterday, and for the rest of the week, 40 entrants will be giving public performances, including the final on Saturday night. The best performer will receive $2,000 in prize money.
Suburban services in and out of Newcastle resumed this afternoon with trains running as scheduled from midday. The interurban service continued to be disrupted with only 2 trains leaving Newcastle for Sydney. Those trains will be back to normal tomorrow. The first Newcastle flyer will depart the city at 5 to 7 in the morning. All freight trains, including coal trains, will also resume tomorrow. The rail strike has held up 11 ships waiting to load export coal and wheat in the harbour. The dispute brought the grain terminal to a standstill, and the loading of coal has been limited to stockpiled material and the small amounts brought to the port by road. Limited coal loading continued at Kooragang in Port Waratah today, but it will be tomorrow afternoon before operations are back in full swing. Meanwhile, officials at Kooragang are testing the viability of road haulage as an alternative to rail during crisis periods. Newcastle's weekly
month-long gas employees dispute has also ended. More than 100 new gas employees met at Zanga Park Mayfield this morning and voted to resume work tomorrow. The men walked off the job last Monday after New Gas refused to pay 2 employees who had been rehired after a period of recruitment. The return to work is pending a hearing of the dispute by the full bench of the Arbitration Commission. New Gas will begin calling on those homes without gas tomorrow, and it's expected that all services will be restored by Friday.
At the monthly meeting of Shortland County Council, a recommendation to grant Comsteel Vickers the 2-month concession was upheld. The company is the council's largest customer and last year used $4.8 million worth of electricity. The council was told the concession was in line with the state government's desire that county councils do their bit to lighten the cost burdens on industry, and that it would also provide employment protection.
Yes, indeed I do.
Councillor John Jobling said, however, he was concerned that a precedent may have been set for other customers to seek similar concessions.
In this case, they're the only customer in that classification, so perhaps, and I say perhaps, that might justify it. But certainly the other customers in different categories will be looking at the problem, and they'll be looking for similar treatment. I am quite sure of that.
Do you think that'll be a problem?
And yes, I think we're going to have a lot of problems with it.
Do you think there's a chance that this won't be a one-off situation?
Well, an honest opinion, frankly, yes. I believe there will be continuing appeals, whether it's by this particular company or by others. No, it's not going to be a one-off. I'm sure they'll be back for more.